Hey there, I'm Samurai Man. I have been speedrunning Metroid Dread since the game's release, and I wanted to make a tutorial series where I go through the current route, which I hope is not obsolete in a week. The current route has sequence breaks such as early grapple beam and early gravity suit, then a bunch of other stuff I'll be teaching you during this series. This is a part 1 of any present tutorial, and we're playing to the start of Cataris. I hope you enjoy the video, and good luck learning Metroid Dread. But let's get started, pretty much. Let's just get started with this, and I'll try my best to explain everything I remember, I know, and I'll try my best to answer any questions on stream. I'll also cut out all the stuff when there's a loading screen and such there, and I don't explain anything, obviously. After talking with Adam, you'll have the very first skip, actually. It's called Broken E.M.M.I skip. It is not too difficult, but it's a rather interesting to explain. Wall jumps here are faster to do, by the way. You don't want to break those blocks, or you don't have to. Here will be the first cutscene if you can't skip that, but all you need to do is just press plus button, which is the start, then minus. You don't have to worry about saving, but if you want to save, you can save, just to be sure the checkpoint doesn't get messed up, or when you die you will just spawn really far away. Here you can just spam X and that's it. I'm doing the fastest movement here just to show like what you can do in this part. In any way you want to do this, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how fast you do it, just what you're comfortable with. So if you slide through that, you're stuck there. You would have to break that block over there. It takes 4 shots. This is where you get the broken E.M.M.I skip. You're able to shoot through the wall there 4 times over this corner by sliding and shooting after the somersault. Somersault is the spinning animation like this. This is broken E.M.M.I skip. You don't have to do this. Just continue normally if you don't want to do this. This is a really tricky to explain and to teach. So what you would have to do is slide first, then you jump, because for some reason it changes Samus's hitbox and it lets you to shoot through the wall. Now when I'm trying to do this without sliding, I'm not able to shoot through the wall for some reason. You have to do this 4 times. The tricky part is the timing for the shot. So what I will recommend is that you do the slide, spinning towards this corner. Don't shoot immediately, shoot a little, like a split second after you bonk. Bonk into the ceiling is important part here. And that's broken E.M.M.I skip. If you don't want to do this, continue normally. But if you do this, you have successfully done a broken E.M.M.I skip. This part, however, this is a phantom clock early, more of like a setup for a phantom clock early to shoot through here. Honestly though, this is a really tricky to explain because the route changes a tiny bit, because you get phantom cloak before spider magnet. If you continue normally, you get spider magnet, then phantom cloak. Just for the sake of the tutorial series and this video, I won't do phantom cloak early, but I will show you one shot what it looks like. Pay close attention to this blob. It's gonna turn to orange soon, possibly. Like that. That's a really tricky shot to do because you have to slide off this ledge and shoot it, and while holding upright while shooting. It's really tricky to explain, and just for the sake of this video, I'm not gonna showing more because the route changes after that a little bit. Then we have a second E.M.M.I encounter. I'll be going through how you're supposed to go through this area. Can you give a consistent early cloak setup, please? I just showed it. I didn't read the chat, but it's a really tricky to explain. By the way, if you want to be fancy, you can melee counter E.M.M.I here and save a few seconds, because if no matter how fast you go here, you have to wait after this slider. Instead, of waiting here, you can try to melee counter E.M.M.I. And if you do that, and it doesn't notice you, you're able to go through that room, that zone, right away, because it hasn't noticed you. The door is open because it hasn't seen you. It saves a few seconds, approximately 10 seconds. But as you may have noticed when you've played this game, it is very hard, even close to impossible to parry or melee counter any of E.M.M.I attacks. You have 2 chances for them, but is it worth the risk? It's up to you. Definitely gonna take notes. Yeah, this is it's a classroom right now. I need to remember I'm doing after charge beam I'm going for the regular route. The current route I'm using, I do Phantom Clock early. I forgot to say it saves about 20 to 30 seconds to do Phantom Clock early, and Broken E.M.M.I skip saves about a minute, approximately, to my knowledge. Oh, this is important when we get to this room. I'll explain about E.M.M.I. You see E.M.M.I over there. E.M.M.I RNG, their spawn is random where they spawn, but they have like set spawns where they can spawn at. However, it's random where they spawn in any of those. So there could be like 3 sets of spawns where they can spawn, but then the game decides it will spawn in one of that. And if it doesn't, then it will spawn in a second one. I don't know exactly, but that's how I have noticed it. And you want to be cautious of that where you see the E.M.M.I or where you hear it. Basically what I'm meaning that E.M.M.I doesn't spawn in the other side of the whole area. It spawns nearby you in some of those set spawns. Right now here it spawned right next to me, which is where it always spawns. And the movement it does, that's random. What we wanna do is try to avoid it by jumping over here if we wanna go fast. If not, then you wanna maneuver over this room and go around it. What you can do is jump over there, and you don't have to worry that it sees you. As long as you go away from it, as fast as possible, it doesn't catch you, it opens the doors for you, and you're able to go through and out of these E.M.M.I zones. I might be going too fast with this because, I mean, I'm a speedrunner, so I'm used to do it this way. There's a save point you can pick up if you want to, it doesn't matter. Remember, each time you go to E.M.M.I zones, you have a checkpoint set. I forgot to target there. Okay, there's a question in the chat. If you get Phantom Clock early, do you get Spider Magnet after? Yes, you get Spider Magnet after. It is not possible to skip it. Right now, at least. The game is young, it was just released. We don't know what kind of crazy stuff there is still to be discovered. But going through this, you wanna slide through that and go over here. Here you can see E.M.M.I spawned right next to me. Sometimes it will spawn above here. This is a really tricky part, so I might get caught, it depends. Okay, I got away. Here, if it went to the left, I would have been able to go to the right safely. But I wanna be safe, and I wanna go around it like this. That's the randomness, the RNG part of this kind of run. You gotta be cautious with where E.M.M.I is, just by hearing where it is. Missiles kills all of those enemies with one hit. In before this tutorial is obsolete before it's finished? Yeah, probably. I mean, any advice or on better movement? One of the biggest advices I can give you for movement is to play the game. Play the game a lot more, try out some things, try to memorize the spots where you have to use charge beam to open the locks, the angles. But the one big thing is playing the game. I've always get better at the game by playing it myself. This E-Tank, you don't have to pick it up, but for the sake of consistency and you don't die that easily, it's better to pick up every E-Tank, the big ones you see. There are E-tank parts, we'll pick up too. I'll be doing this movement again here. You don't have to do this, but it looks really flashy, doesn't it? The melee counter, those who don't know, melee counter while standing or mid-air, or when you're hanging on a wall, it does no damage. However, if you do it while running, there's an animation, different animation for it, and you deal damage with it, and that kills that enemy there. So you remember I talked about the Phantom Clock early? This is where you would go and beat Corpius now for Phantom Clock early. But I'm not gonna do that. For the regular route, where you don't do Phantom Clock early, you go back to the Aram the normal way. The way we just came from. And we wanna avoid E.M.M.I, yes. We wanna avoid E.M.M.I as much as possible. It can be really horrible sometimes when it spawns next to you and you have to keep yourself calm. One trick I can give you with the ledges. When you hand on ledge and you press jump, which is B button, you climb up normally, or you hold the direction. It doesn't matter. But if you grab the ledge and immediately press jump, like this, you get out of that ledge immediately. You can mash the jump, or you can time it to get even higher jump. Just a small optimization to keep in mind if you wanna do that. There's a missile down there, but we'll pick it up later. Don't need to worry about it too now. We'll get it later. One of the tricky ones for me to learn when I learned this game was to memorize where I have to go at first, but also remember which doors are locked by normally and which doors are locked by the charge beam. Good thing it can be to have when you go around enemies is to have charged beam loaded like this. It kills any weak enemies one shot, but after it has hit one of those enemies, it takes off that screw attack animation, or you know, whatever it is called. And you have to charge a new charge beam. I can demonstrate it here. How do I hold my controller? You feel limited with mashing with thumb. When I hold my controller, I'm actually holding it towards my English is hard. Towards my feet. And what I do is, like, I hold my controller like this normally, then I do it like this, and I move around while shooting as well. That's my method. Other people probably have different methods, but I still hold my controller normally with my left hand, but my right hand does the other stuff than for mashing. So I can demonstrate this here. You saw how it killed one shot there. That's what you can do with this charged thing. But then you have to charge it again for a new enemy. So that's good to keep in mind. Yeah. So yeah, keep the questions relevant to the current section, so nobody gets confused of what I'm explaining. Okay, the route here, you want to go over here. If you remember this spot where you came for the first time with E.M.M.I. By the way, jump as soon as you are around that corner over there, and you make it over here. If you didn't, it's fine. It's just a small detour, then coming from down. These central units are the best to break with missiles. Just spam missiles. Then avoid the circles and shots and everything around. Now here's the better part, is that you wanna mash. But if you have some missiles, you can use those too for some extra damage too after you have broken down the shell. After this, you break the door. This is a interesting part for Omega Blaster. You can press the button, or you can hold the button, then release it, and it shots. It's either way you wanna do, it's preference. I always mash for it. I just mash the button. This E.M.M.I has 3 different locations you can go and do this setup from. I personally do it from the top, it's the fastest. Some people do it in the middle, and if you want to be super safe, you can do it at the bottom of this room. I'm gonna demonstrate it at the middle of the room. E.M.M.I spawns around here, always. E.M.M.I spawns always in the same spot for each of these sections. So here you wanna break the armor. After it comes down, you wanna immediately charge the Omega Blaster. And if you're not comfortable with that, you can just go one floor lower, and you have more time to react to whatever E.M.M.I does. Having a tutorial for the whole game will be great. Yeah, for sure. I hope I don't miss something important to explain. I'll try to keep everything as simple as possible. Now we have Spider Magnet. And the route out of Spider Magnet is to come out of this room and go this way where we just came from. After this door, I'm gonna go up, kill those enemies quickly, get this missile. You'll have good amount of missiles against Corpius now. Oops. So if you remember now this part, yeah, this is for the time save would come over here, that after a charge beam, you would go beat Corpius. It's a little bit different route than if you beat Corpius before Spider Magnet. You can melee counter anything where the enemy gives you the animation or the sound effect. Most of the bosses gives you that too. Corpius is interesting because you have to hit its head all the time. Body doesn't matter. You don't want to mash missiles, you want to take your time. It's more effective to do it like that. With this phase, you can try your best to use all of your missiles you have, because when you go to the next phase, you actually get more missiles. You get all the missiles back. Alright, now I'm out of missiles, so I wanna break this part. I got all the missiles back. I slide, use the melee, then I do this animation. I just smash all the missiles I have. So we have 6 missiles now. We might be at the point it wants to go invisible soon. Use all the missiles you have. And that should be the fight. That's also even way better than I've was before, actually. That's like pretty much a perfect Corpius fight. Without Spider Magnet you can't avoid the poison part, so you want to be careful with that, with your health especially. That was exceptionally clean, I agree. This will be uploaded to YouTube, yes. With this part, it's possible to slide and go to Phantom Cloak like this. And it saves a couple seconds throughout the run when you do it optimally every time. You don't have to do that if you are not comfortable with that. You can just use the Phantom Cloak and go through normally. So the timing for doing that with the slide, you wanna press them almost at the same time. I would say at the same time is better way to say it. So you wanna do that. You can see how smooth it is and faster to do that. Going to Cataris doesn't matter if you do it at the top room or the bottom room. I personally prefer the bottom. The bottom feels better and faster. I like to kill those enemies first, then I go up here and I travel. And I shoot this way all the time to kill all the flying enemies. If any of them hits me, they will make me drop down. Don't worry about the fire there, just go through this normally like that, and we're on our way to Cataris next. I guess during this time I can explain like the differences between digital and physical version. It's only the loading times. The loading times are faster on the digital version. I have the digital version, and it's currently saved, or it's installed in a Switch's internal memory. It was in a SD card before, and my load times were a little bit slower compared to other runners. And if you have a physical version of this game, then your loading times are just slower, unfortunately. Now we go to the left, and that enemy is a little bit weird to avoid. Sometimes it hits you and sometimes it doesn't. You want to continue this way and go to talk with Adam. This might be a good spot for anyone to make a save point on and have this spot as a practice ball. Because going through the Cataris, it can be a little bit of confusing. It was a maze for me when I started running this game. And this is where we'll end part 1 of this series. In the next part, we're gonna go through Cataris to Tyron to collect White Beam, fight against Cryde, and perform the first sequence break. Thanks for watching.